Soraya was the queen of Iran and the second wife of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. She was one of the most beautiful women of her time, but her life was tragic. When it became clear that Soraya could not give birth to an heir, the Shah made her a shocking offer. How did Soraya live after the divorce? What did she confess to the Shah before his death? And why did she die alone? Watch the video to the end to learn the story of this remarkable woman. Soraya Esfandiari Bakhtiari went down in history as the second wife of the last Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. Their love story was beautiful. Many contemporaries believed she was the great love of the Shah's life. She had rare charm and stunning looks, like a Hollywood diva. However, her marriage to Mohammad Reza Pahlavi lasted only 7 years. They had to part due to sad life circumstances. This is why their story is remembered as one of history's most tragic love stories. Soraya Esfandiari Bakhtiari was born in 1932 in Isfahan, Iran. Her father, Khalil Esfandiari, was Iran's ambassador to Germany and came from a noble and influential Iranian family. Her mother, Eva Karl, was German, which gave Soraya a mix of European charm and refined looks. With her mixed heritage, Soraya grew up surrounded by both Eastern and Western cultures, making her unique and captivating. She spent most of her childhood in Europe, mainly in Germany and Switzerland, where she attended private schools. These years shaped her into a confident, stylish, and independent young woman who could speak several languages. She stood out not only for her beauty, but also for her elegance, which was admired by high society. Soraya met the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, through mutual friends in London in 1948 when she was only 16. She captivated him from the moment they met, and their encounter quickly grew into a romance. Before meeting Soraya, the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, was married to Princess Fawzia of Egypt. Their marriage was arranged to strengthen ties between Iran and Egypt. However, the relationship was troubled from the beginning. Fawzia felt unhappy in Iran, and the cultural differences made things worse. After a few years, they grew distant. In 1948, their marriage ended in divorce, and Fawzia returned to Egypt. The Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, was destined to rule the country and become its emperor. He came from the Pahlavi dynasty, which aimed to modernize Iran and increase its influence. As a ruler, the Shah carried the heavy burden of leading a nation through political changes. He needed to secure a strong future for the dynasty, which meant having heirs to continue his legacy. When the Shah met Soraya, he was captivated by her beauty and charm. His feelings for her were sincere. Despite the pressure to find a suitable wife who could give him an heir, his affection for Soraya was real. Their relationship was based on love, not just political or social expectations. For a time, the Shah hoped that with Soraya by his side, both his personal life and his duties as ruler could align perfectly. The Shah proposed to Soraya not long after they met. He gave her an engagement ring with a stunning 22.37-carat diamond, a symbol of his deep affection and hope for their future together. Their engagement was announced publicly, and the news caused excitement both in Iran and abroad. People admired the beautiful young couple, seeing them as a symbol of love and unity between tradition and modernity. However, their wedding had to be postponed. Soraya fell ill with typhoid fever, which left her weak for several weeks. The delay only heightened public interest and anticipation for the grand ceremony that would follow. Once Soraya recovered, preparations resumed, and the wedding became a national event. The wedding took place in Tehran in 1951, and it was one of the most lavish ceremonies in Iran's history. Soraya wore a custom-made silver lame gown covered in 37,000 feathers and thousands of diamonds, designed by Christian Dior. The royal palace was filled with guests from around the world, including diplomats, foreign dignitaries, and members of Iran's elite. The ceremony itself followed Persian traditions, with the couple sitting before a mirror, symbolizing a bright future, while sugar was ground over their heads to bless their marriage. Musicians played, and the streets of Tehran were filled with celebrations as citizens joined in to honor the royal couple. It was a moment of great hope, both for the Shah and for the nation, as everyone believed this marriage marked the beginning of a prosperous era. Of all the Shah's many women, it is generally believed that Soraya was the true love of his life, as she was the one he loved the most. Soraya later wrote about herself and Iran. "I was a dunce. I knew next to nothing of the geography, the legends of my country, nothing of its history, nothing of the Muslim religion." Despite the beautiful wedding, there were many challenges hidden beneath the surface of this love story. Many in Iran disliked Soraya because of her upbringing and background. Born to a German mother and raised in Europe, Soraya was seen by some as too foreign to be accepted as queen. Her modern Western education clashed with the traditional values of Iranian society, and this created a sense of distrust around her. Her European manners and lifestyle stood in contrast to the expectations placed on women in Iran, especially those in the royal family. Many viewed her as distant and too independent, believing she could not fully embrace the customs and responsibilities of an Iranian queen. This made it difficult for her to win the favor of conservative members of the court and the public. Despite her efforts to adapt, Soraya struggled to fit into a society so different from what she had known. She remained an outsider in the eyes of many, and this sense of alienation became one of the first obstacles in her life as queen. Soraya wrote, "The feeling of being both Christian and Muslim, but at the same time of being neither one nor the other, has engraved in my flesh two divergent poles between which my existence has unfolded. The one is methodically European, the other savagely Persian." In their marriage, Soraya faced hostility from the Shah's family. His mother, Queen Mother Taj ul-Muluk, and his sister, Princess Shams, openly disliked Soraya. They saw her as a threat, believing she had too much influence over the Shah. To them, she was not just a young bride, but a rival. Their coldness and distrust made life at the Iranian court even more challenging for Soraya, who was already struggling to adjust. Soraya never truly felt at home in Iran. She admired Europe and longed for the freedom and elegance of Western life. The traditions and restrictions of Iranian society weighed heavily on her, and she often felt isolated and misunderstood. Her heart remained tied to the European cities she had grown up in, where she felt more at ease and accepted. During one of their trips, Soraya visited Hollywood with the Shah and was deeply impressed by the glamour and charm of the film industry. She met many famous stars of the time, which left her fascinated by the world of cinema and celebrity. Soraya felt more connected to the elegance and freedom of life in America, which stood in stark contrast to the strict expectations she faced in Iran. On one occasion in the United States, Soraya went water skiing in a swimsuit, enjoying the carefree moment. However, paparazzi captured her on camera, and the photos quickly spread. When the images reached Iran, they caused a scandal. Many criticized her for behavior they saw as inappropriate for a queen, reinforcing the idea that she did not fit the traditional role expected of her. However, despite the tensions, Soraya and the Shah were deeply in love. They shared a passionate relationship and enjoyed life together. They traveled the world, attended